This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Catch the Into the Weeds podcast on Military Broadcast Radio every Sunday at 6 p.m. Central. Hosts Amber and Alora, the dynamic mother-daughter team, engage in interview-style discussions with intriguing guests on topics ranging from music and prison reform to archaeology and the paranormal. Are you ready to go into the weeds?
Let's try that again. Welcome to Into the Weeds podcast here on Military Broadcast Radio. I'm Amber. Alora is upstairs sleeping today. She just got off of work and she's really tired. So it's just me solo today. And this is a recorded episode. So I will be in the chat speaking to everybody tomorrow when it plays. But I just wanted to make you aware of that in case you're asking me specific questions and whatever. So I hope everybody's doing well this week. I've had a really great week. I have my sisters in town. I haven't seen them in quite a while. One of them I haven't seen in a long time. And so I'm just super excited to reconnect and just I've been doing a lot of laughing. I know I laugh a lot already on here, but I've been doing a lot of laughing. And so that's just really good for my soul. And so I just wanted to share that. And so I'm also I'm thinking about doing a open panel next week if I don't have another guest, just to kind of talk about the FOIAs that have been out there and just kind of talk about everything. And, I've got people asking me questions all the time. And I don't have all the time in the world to answer every one of them. And so I think it would be really great if we just got online and talked about it together. So that's what I think we'll do next week. That remains to be seen, but I will let you know if we do that. So anyways, today I am really excited because we have a really special guest. Her name is Dr. Marla Albertie. And I met Marla through Military Broadcast Radio. As most of you guys know, I'm the secretary of MBR, and I also help Joel to train veterans, to introduce them to MBR, and to be a support and a mentor if I can, And so that's what I do. And one day when I was doing that, Marla came up and I met her and we had a wonderful discussion. I really connected with her. And so she's going to be on here just talking about her life and the things that she's gone through. And I just want to share her with you. And so I don't know what part she's going to be with MBR, if she's going to be a host or just a guest, but I think she's a valuable asset to us. And so if my interview of the week video will play, we will bring Marla up with that.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Welcome, Marla.
Hello, Amber. Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you to be here too. Like I said, we connected really well on that one, call that we had. I mean, it was more like this. We actually spoke face to face, kind of.
Yes, yes.
So I am very thankful that you are here. Even just wanting to know more about MBR, and the more people who know, the more our message is out there.
Yes.
So I guess we're going to start with, I like to really get to know my guests. Just as far as who they are and what makes them tick and why they do what they do, because that's something that very much interests me.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us your personal journey of who you are and where you came from and why you do what you do?
Wow. Well, again, thank you, Amber. So honored to be here. Pleasure to be here. I'm super excited to share. Where do I begin with that question? That is for me, for those who even know me, that is such a loaded question.
Yes.
Woo! Well, I always like to start off about where I'm from. I'm very proud of my city. I am from Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
Duval. So if you are familiar with Jacksonville, you know we are very proud of our county. That
Yes.
is our county, Duval.
Mhm.
And some of us are proud and like our Jaguars. That's why I say some, not all. Don't hate.
Yeah.
They didn't do. We're not gonna make this a football episode. But I'm just saying. I'm just
Mhm.
saying. I am a Jaguarian. I am a Duvalian,
Okay.
and I believe in the team. Okay, that's that. But yeah, born and raised. I'm born and raised right here. I went to high school, everything here. Parents here. Majority of my family's here. My mom's side of the family is from Alabama, but my dad's most all my dad's side of the family is from Jacksonville and surrounding areas,
Okay.
surrounding cities. In Jacksonville. So I have a huge family. The last name Albertie is pretty well known in the city. And
Okay.
we're related to quite a few people. When I meet people, I go out a lot with one of my cousins, Mike. We go out to the comedy shows and stuff like that. And we always run into people we know. He runs into people he knows all the time. And people like, Albertie, like, yes, we're related to the whole city.
Yeah, I know. I understand that feeling.
Yeah, but it's fun though, because I personally like meeting people.
Mhm.
I'm not a huge fan of the introvert extroverts. To me, we're all a mixture of both, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Don't let me get that's the psychology side of me, but to me, we're all a mixture of both. Because I can be very introverted, believe it or not. I can go on my shell and just shut down.
Yeah.
But me, let's see. I guess we could start with after I graduated high school, it wasn't really a plan of mine to go into the Navy. I just was one of those kids, I had my mom and dad, I had a whole bunch of friends, and I wanted to go, do the American dream. What's the American thing? You go to high school, you go to college. That's
Yeah.
what you do, right? That's what society tells you to do. You follow the path, right?
Mhm.
And I was always one of those kids that I didn't like following trends. I didn't like following what other people did.
Mhm.
And I'm still like that.
Me
And
too.
whether it made sense to other people or not.
Yeah.
And so one day I talked to one of the recruits. I did ROTC
Mhm.
my last 2 years in high school, and my ROTC instructor was like, "Have you thought about going into the military? Like you're E3 because they rank you up
Yeah.
when you're in high school, right? So
Mhm.
like, have you thought about going to the military?" I'm like, I'm like, I'm just doing this because it's an easy credit. It's an easy
Yeah.
class. You graduate, duh.
Mhm.
So I'm like, and they're like, well, you should think about it. Then lo and behold, next thing I know, we got a recruit at my mom at my house. My mom was like, we didn't talk about this. So I
Yeah.
didn't. I never talked about going into the military. Then one day I show up with this recruiter at the house.
Oh, wow.
I literally showed up with a recruiter at the house, literally. And that's how that started. So graduated high school. We graduated May, June. I don't even remember.
Mhm.
I was in boot camp in August.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, boot camp in August. And back then, I think Chicago. Yeah, Chicago is the only one now. I was in the United States Navy.
Mhm.
And because by then Orlando had shut down, so
Yeah.
Chicago went off to boot camp in Chicago. Back then we had what we call SH, ship servicemen. So I had ship servicemen school, which was in Meridian, Mississippi, one of the most boringest cities in the country. But I was, thank God, I was only there for 3 weeks. I did
Mhm.
my A school, which is where they teach you your, or all those non-military folks out there listening, where they teach you your trade.
Yep.
And so back then it was unique with the ship servicemen because we had multiple jobs. So the ship servicemen, we were in charge of dry cleaning and laundry,
Okay.
the barbershop, vending machines, and the store. So if you were on a ship, majority of ships had either a small convenience store. If you were on a larger ship, sometimes you had a convenience store as well as a like a mall type store.
Yeah, like a commissary.
Yep, like a small like commissary. Yep,
Mhm.
on the ship. So
Mhm.
SH, we did all of that. So back then, they were not sending females to barber school. Don't ask me why. Mm, I really wanted to go to barber school, but I didn't go. And so classed up and went to, once I graduated, went off to Norfolk, Virginia to get on board USS Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Oh.
And I was on the carrier. So life was entirely different for me. You got to think I went from this cute, peppy little, cute little, girl to this military life. And it completely changed a lot of things in my life, a lot of things in my world.
Mhm.
Obviously things happened, that obviously we won't go into, right? But things happen and, stuff happens and whatnot, that led to my PTSD, MST now.
Mhm.
But I don't regret my military service. I learned a lot. So I was stationed on board the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. I did not make a mid cruise. Because I went to Canada. So people are like, where'd you go? It's the first thing people ask. I went to Canada and Fort Lauderdale.
That's better than me. I just went to Fort Jackson because I only went to basic training.
Yeah, exactly. I went to Canada and Fort Nova Scotia, Canada,
Wow.
which is where I found out I was pregnant with my son.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, because I was so sick. I was so sick. And we went to Fort Lauderdale. And
Mhm.
so I got off the ship, so I wound up being pregnant. And long story short, got in the Navy, married my first husband, who happened to be the father of my son.
Mhm.
And there's that journey. That journey started. And so that journey, I moved back home. I moved back to Jacksonville while my then father or baby daddy at the time went off and did the med cruise. So he went off. He stayed in the military and went off and
Okay.
did the med cruise. And I came back home and here I am with my little baby. Here I am pregnant at 19, gave birth at 20. Here I am, 20,
Oh,
21 years
wow.
old with a baby at
Oh,
home.
wow.
And my mom, believe it or not, my mom was sick. My mom was diagnosed with ALS, which is
Mhm.
amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which is also
Mhm.
known as Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yeah.
So she was diagnosed with that. So here I am with this baby and with her and my dad. They're like, excuse me? Like, you
Mhm.
decided to come home and do what? Stay here? So hey, and fast forward, my husband came home and we got married, which wasn't really something we should have done because you get pregnant, you're both, his mom and my mom are like, okay, what y'all gonna do? What y'all, back then, religious, y'all shacking up,
Yeah.
whatever. So, so I said, okay. So we decided to get married. Well, shouldn't have did that, but anyway,
Mhm.
we get married, go off, raise son. And then we get divorced. We get divorced when my son is about 5, about 5, 4 or 5 years old.
Mhm.
We get divorced. And at that time, Amber, I really didn't know who I was. I don't think you really know in 24, 25,
No.
26. Yeah, I didn't really know who I was. So I felt like I needed I felt like I had to be with somebody. I had to be with someone. So I went back to my safe place, which happened to be an ex-boyfriend named Carlos.
Mhm.
And that ex-boyfriend, Carlos, at the time was incarcerated. And so once he came home, I decided to be his wife. Right. And so there we go. So here now I'm married the second time.
So codependency?
Yeah, within a year.
Yeah.
In a year. And so we stayed married for some time, 12, 13 years. And he raised Tariq. So from age 6 to 12, I'm sorry, 6 to 18, he raised my son Tariq. Throughout all of that, I lived the normal, regular, what you call married life, right? You put on this face, that you're happy and you're, you're doing your best. But on top of that, though, that was that side of me. The other side of me was this hustler, this go-getter chick. I got my associate's degree in supervision and management, my bachelor's degree in my associate's degree in financial services, along with a care planner certificate, my bachelor's degree in supervision and management, and my master's degree in adult education, all while married to him.
Wow.
On top of that, I got my coaching certification and started my coaching business, my coaching and consulting business, which is True Speaks Coaching, is now True Speaks Group, but the website is still True Speaks Coaching, so I kept it. And which is April 1st was its 13-year anniversary. So my business is 13 years old.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it started in 2012. Yeah, and I was told back then, they said, a coaching business won't last that long. Well, okay. So and all while I kept my business going the whole while I was working a full-time job and still married, going through issues and
Raising your child.
a son and who happened to be diagnosed with high functioning autism when he turned 6. So and then on top of that, dealing with an ailing mom who passed away during my first marriage. So so I had a lot going on.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And it wasn't until the last 5 years I realized this is how I've lived my life. So my coping mechanism, and us military folks, we're very familiar with coping mechanisms, right? My coping mechanism has always been the double-edged sword of achievement. So I would achieve, right? As you can see in the background, right? I would achieve, but it would exhaust me. But Marla's a go-getter, so Marla has to continue to achieve. So Marla gets divorced from the second husband and realizes, maybe I do need some therapy. So I finally decided to go into therapy because one of my girlfriends at the time said, have you thought about going to therapy? I said, for what? Because I wasn't really active in the military community. I wasn't active in the VA. I wasn't even a member of VA until I started working at a wonderful company called Wounded Warrior Project.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I worked there, and they were like, you should be registered with the VA. I'm not registered to do what? I really didn't know. And so I got into the VA, got involved with the VA healthcare system and everything. I'm fully in there now. And started getting therapy. And really, that's what really awakened me to the fact, okay, well, I'm just a little bit fucked up. Just a little bit. Just like the rest of us, but that didn't stop me, right? So get divorced, and I got divorced August 31st, 2016, and started my PhD program December 29th, 2016.
Wow.
And then during that time frame, me and my son packed up our shit, excuse my French, and we moved into the home that we're in now. Been here 8 years this year. So it's 2025. 8 years this year. And if I have to say, Amber, if I want to go backwards, I mean, there are a few things I would change, but not too much. I don't regret anything. Life will throw you curveballs, but nothing, Amber, I will say, prepared me for the curveball that was getting ready to be served to me here recently. So move forward, get divorced, and I go through. I get the PhD. Got sick. I got hospitalized with blood clots, pulmonary embolism, DVT, deep vein thrombosis, migraines, consistently, PTSD, MSD. I mean, like I said, just effed up all the way around. Excuse my French. I'm gonna say
no, I understand. I'm right there with you.
This is me. This is who I am. I always say this is what you get. This is who I am. So and I just had to say, okay, you know what, God, I'm your child. I'm loved. you know.
Mhm.
So, but I had to keep going forward. So I walked with my PhD last year. Matter of fact, May, it's coming up on May 16th of this year. It'll be 1 year. I can't believe, like, wow, it's been 1 year. I defended 1 year ago, February 1st. And I'm like,
Wow.
that was the longest 7.5 years of my life. But it took such a long time because I had so much life stuff happening because my
Mhm.
son got married to the love of his life. She got pregnant. Her mom was sick. My daughter-in-law's mom was sick. So I took up my daughter-in-law was my daughter. You know, we just had so much going on. Then I'm the
Mhm.
caretaker for my dad, who's also a disabled veteran. You know, so it was just, it was a lot going on.
Yeah.
You know, on top of losing my grandmother and other deaths in the family. I lost both my brothers. I had 2 brothers from my dad.
Mhm.
Lost both of them. You know, and we were kind of estranged. I wasn't as close to them as I would have liked to have been. So just so many things happened. But through all the midst of that, so many good things happened too. I still had my business, still had things going. I wrote, like we talked about it earlier, published. I wrote my first book, 52 Career Tips, Action Steps to Move You Forward. Then the next book, I wrote 2 stories in 2 anthologies.
Oh,
I've also
wow.
written 2 poems in 2 anthologies. And then I wrote my next book, the Ultimate Brag Book, 100 Questions About How Awesome You Are. Wrote that. I'm still an author, still pushing forward. I started my own publishing company, MJA Publishing. I started a nonprofit because my PhD is in IO psychology, which is industrial organizational psychology, which is the study of human behavior in the workplace. And it's such a
Mhm.
beautiful field. And I could talk about that all day. That's a whole other podcast, Amber. I could talk about
Okay.
that. But I decided to start a nonprofit. So, because I said, how are teenagers going to understand? They're the ones we run the world, not us. I'm going to be on a cruise ship somewhere. I'm a cruiser. So, you know, how are they going to know what to do? You know, how to run
Mhm.
this world? You know, because if they don't understand how behavior works in the workplace and working with people, right? You know, so voila, we're going on our 3rd year this year. I have a small team, but we're small and mighty, and we're pushing through. We're pushing through. We've had
So
our
can you
challenges.
tell us
Yeah.
about that? Tell us about that because we had another guest on here
Mhm.
a while back. Her name is Patricia Demetrio, and she
Okay.
runs Life Smart Education.
Ooh.
And when I was researching your stuff, I was like, oh, that sounds very compatible.
Mm.
So please tell us what that really is.
Yeah, so definitely. So it's IO for teens. So industrial organizational. We just dropped the P because IOP for teens didn't sound good. So IO for teens. And so that stands for industrial organizational. What we're doing is we're teaching teenagers the principle of workplace behavior based on a science. IO psychology is a science approved by the APA, the American Psychological Association, is a
Mhm.
division of the APA. It's division 14 of the APA.
Okay.
And the thing about us is, IO psychologists, the thing about us is we are psychologists. However, we are not clinical. And
Mhm.
what I mean by that is we do not diagnose clinically. So I can't tell you, Amber, what's clinically wrong with you. But
Okay.
if we go in if your workplace and you're having issues with your workplace, we can diagnose workplace behavior problems. So we do need to know a little bit
Okay.
about behavior. We do need to understand it, and we understand the brain and how things function, and how things work. So we are psychologists at the same time. So we have to know that. Right,
Mhm.
but a lot of people like, do you have your license? No, IO psychologists are not required to get licensing. Now, however, it just depends on your state. I'm in the state of Florida. Florida is not require you to have that,
Mhm.
and honestly, IO psychologists don't have to. But it really depends on your state if you want to get licensed. With IO psychology, with us, we're not teaching the students to be IO psychologists. That's not
Yeah.
our goal. We're
Yeah.
not teaching them to go to college. We're not teaching none of that. What
Mhm.
we're teaching them is life skills based on the science that they're going to need regardless of where they go in life.
Mhm.
That's the beauty behind it. And if they so happen to want to find out about IO psychology, great. We'll talk
Yeah.
to you.
Mhm.
Right? But we're teaching you life skills that you're going to need. And these life skills are not made up. They're based on a science
Mhm.
that has been continued, researched science.
Mhm.
And that's the beauty behind no one is doing that. No one is
Mhm.
doing that. And so we have developed our own curriculum. So IO psychology has 26 specialization areas. And a lot of people say, okay, so what's the difference between IO psychology and human resources? Because IO psychologists sit in HR. A lot of companies have IO psychologists sit in HR. Because
Okay.
it's still a fairly new field, even though it's not new. But people are still just finding out about it. And I always say, example, payroll, let's say you have your payroll specialist. The payroll compensation specialist will pay you, right? They will run your payroll. They'll do all that for you, right?
Yeah.
The IO psychologists, on the other hand, we're going to study the trends behind that pay that they're paying you. Then we're going to study the trends behind why you may behave the way you're behaving when you get that bonus check.
Okay.
Or what X company over here is doing versus Z company over here. We're going to study those trends and see how we can help this company productivity raise better because their pay is better.
Is it more about watching people or watching numbers?
It's a little bit of both. It really, but it's both. But it's really more of the people. It's humanistic. So the I is the industrial side, right? So the I is the, that's more of your training and your recruiting and your legal side, and but then the O is the organizational. That's the people. That's the well-being and the understanding people and the HR issues and stuff like that. So it's really a mixture of both, because the numbers will fall under the I side, the data, because you can't do anything without data. I don't care who you are, on what you do in life. You can't do anything without data, right? So so you'll find a lot of IO psychologists are data freaks, and you'll find a lot of us are really into assessments. We love tests because we have to, that's what we do. We test you. We test you. But not everybody is a test geek.
No.
Right? And you'll find most IO psychologists will specialize in maybe 3 to 5 areas. Like my areas are training and development, leadership development, coaching, and wellness.
Okay.
Those are my 3 to 4 or 5 areas. Now, do I dabble? Yeah, I dabble in recruiting. I dabble in HR special compensation. I dabble in assessments. I dabble a little bit more in assessments, actually. I dabble in all the areas. So, but we can be a specialist in at least 3 to 5 areas at least. And that's what makes it feel so beautiful. And what you don't realize is everything you do has something to do with IO psychology. Everything you do. There's 26 specialization areas according to SIOP. So SIOP is the Society of Industrial Organizational Psychologists. So I just came back from SIOP, the annual conference in Denver, and it's a beautiful thing because you learn what's trending, what's new, and we already know DE&I is a hot topic. Well, DE&I is not new. DNI has been around for years, but that's on the O side of the IO psychology side. So the students love the material. They love it because we water it down. It's not, well, maybe water is not the right word, but we bring it down to their level to where they understand.
Yeah.
That they're getting life skills, like they know how to behave. After they're like, oh wow, this is what this leads.
What kind of life skills are you actually teaching them? Like, what are they actually learning, and what are you imparting upon them?
Yeah, great question. Communication, teamwork. It's not about you.
Dang.
Yeah, social
That's most
media.
people's problems.
So we have 5 classifications. So we've taken those 26 specialization areas and broken them down to 5 classifications. We discover your dreams. That's more about exploration, finding out who you are. Who are you? What do you want? Who are you as a human being? Right? You're more than a title, right? Your name is something. You mean something.
Yeah.
So discovering your dream, chase your dream. Now you know what it is. Let's chase it. What do we got to do in order to chase it? Well, you got to know how to fill out an application. You got to know how to go online. You got to have computer skills. You got to know how to read a resume, understand what a cover letter is. All those are skills you need, right? Yeah. Okay. Now you've discovered and chased. Now living up to your potential. How do you live up to that potential? You got to continue to upskill and reskill and skill yourself. You got to study. You got to read. You got to understand what you want. So many of them say, "Oh, I want to." It's so cute when I go to talk to these little kids. They say they want to play basketball, and then the older kids want to do something in IT and stuff. Well, guess what? IT, you don't need a college degree. You need certifications. That's what IT field cares about. They could care less about your degree, honestly.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, you need to go get a CompTIA. You need to go, you need to go get Java. You know, you
Mhm.
need to go get your certification. So what are you doing? Right. So we teach them these skills to help them get there. The fourth classification is don't get caught up. Social media. That's your social media. That's your social media card. Behavior on social media. What are you saying? Because what you saying, your representation, who you are, your brand. We teach you a lot about branding. Branding is huge, right? Right now, I'm branding myself. I'm branding myself right now by having my locks, my tank top on, my wristbands. I'm talking,
Yeah.
right? You
Mhm.
know, this is my brand. This is who I
Mhm.
am. I'm okay. I'm authentic, right? We always say I'm very, but everybody can't be 100% authentic, right?
Yeah.
Right. I try to be as authentic as I possibly can because what you see is what you get. This is me, right? So branding. So that we're teaching them that, and then the last one is different places, different faces. Because everywhere you go, regardless of where you're at, you're going to see different faces,
Yeah.
and different faces what may not look like you. That's where that D&I aspect comes from.
Mhm.
That's the HR legal issues come from, and
Mhm.
so all that is pushed into those 5 classifications. So we're teaching them tons of skills, tons of soft.
Yeah. It
Not
sounds
mainly,
like it.
not maybe a lot of hard skills. Some of the hard skills, but not really a lot of hard skills. Mainly the soft skills. So it's really hard skills can be taught, but the soft skills, you got to kind of catch those.
Yeah, well, I mean, just the social media aspect alone,
Yeah,
I cannot tell you how many people I've interacted with that put things online, and I'm just like, "Were you even thinking?" I mean,
even adults.
no, that's what I'm saying.
Remember,
I've been
we can
dealing with
that's one of the podcast.
I've been dealing with adults online. My kids in youth group, yeah, they say stuff or just do silly stuff online, but most of them don't even do that. They just kind of, are just being teenagers.
Yep.
But but the adults,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Well, the thing is, here it is, Amber. It's a screen, right? So I
Yeah,
can say what I want behind a screen.
right. Mhm.
I can say what I want behind a screen.
Mhm.
What are you gonna do to me?
Mhm.
That's where cyberbullying comes from. Bully. You're being a bully. I can be a bully behind a screen, but I'm the type of person. I know we'll talk about this later. I believe in karma. I believe in and karma goes both ways. Karma is not always it's not negative. It's both ways. Karma can be positive and negative, right?
Mhm.
And so, I'm just not gonna go out there. If I can't post anything positive, I'm not gonna post anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to engage in positivity. I don't like drama and
Yeah.
all of that. Now if
Yeah.
somebody pops off and says something stupid, I'm going to ask them, "Well, why did you say that?"
Yeah.
I'm going to pin them down, and ask them, "Hey, but that's not drama. That's just trying to understand somebody and understand, well, why the hell would you think that way?" you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I mean, people, especially in my field, and especially with IO psychologists, we just think differently, and people are people. And
Mhm.
what I'm learning, especially in this last past year of mine, I'm learning. I've always said this quote, but when people show you who they are, believe it. That's really manifested in my life this past year, this past 6 months. So people are people, and when people show you who they are, believe it. No need to ask questions. So when they show you who they are on their Amber, don't even ask why. They're showing you who they are.
Yeah, I know.
So don't even
I
ask.
know. I
Don't
know,
ask.
my sister and I were just talking about this last night. I'm a why person. Why?
Yeah. Me
Why
too.
do
I am such a why person. Like, why did that? Why are you doing that? Why? Because I'm investigative. We want to know. I said,
yeah,
if I'm a life somewhere, I would have been a detective or something. I want to know why. But sometimes, better
sometimes
off
you're
just
just
knowing why.
sometimes you're just spinning your wheels.
Yeah, yeah, you are, because you'll never.
Yeah,
There are a lot. What I have learned, there are a lot of things in life you'll never know the reason why for. You have to live with it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into talking about your book, the ultimate brag book about yourself.
yeah.
Tell us about that and why you wrote something like that.
Yeah, so with me being a coach, I'm a certified career, life, goal, executive, all the names, all the titles. I've coached. I don't know. I'm if I have to give the honest truth, probably over 1,000 people. And majority of those people have been women. I do coach men, but
Hmm.
my main audience has been the 9 to 5 working woman.
Hmm.
And I would ask if you're going to coach with me, I'm going to ask you some simple questions. One of those questions is going to be, if you were to remove all obstacles in your life, whether it's money, kids, spouse, whatever, house, whatever, what would you do? And I would ask women these questions, and Amber, they could not answer the question.
I believe that.
I'd be like, hello, you there? Hello, you there? Can you answer the question? And they cannot. They were stumped.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some could answer it, but I would say out of 100%, 80 could not. 80 could not answer. 20 could. And so I said, I need to help these women. So I just developed the book. I came up with the book. I said, let me create a book because my writing style is my niche style is workbooks and journals. So everyone has their own niche styles for writing. Mine is workbook and journals. So my books are that. So I said, let me come up with, because I'm the type of person, I want you to be able to write something down and take something away. So I said, let me come up with something that these women can use for themselves and go back and read later on. Mm-hmm. And I said, let me come up with some questions that you would probably never ask yourself, such as, what are my favorite body parts? What do I like about myself? What 5 companies would I run where I would be the boss CEO of? What are my favorite restaurants? Where are the places I want to travel to? Why do I want to travel to them? Who likes me? Just questions that you would probably never ever think of. And I've had people come up to me, like, it's been crazy. I've had people come up to me and say, Marla, I would have never asked myself these questions. Never. And it's a way to, again, you're bragging on yourself, because guess what? It's okay to brag on yourself. It's not taking away from bragging on others or bragging on your kids or bragging on your spouse. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. Stay focused here. You. It's okay to brag on yourself. And it's 100 questions about bragging on yourself.
Yeah, and it seems so, the question seems so simple, but at the end of the day, how many of us have actually sat down and asked ourselves those questions?
Nope. Not many.
Yeah.
It's a fun book. It's a fun book. Even myself to this day, I'll just randomly just flip through a page and just answer it. Seriously, like, it's random. I've had people do it with their kids. I've had people do it as couples. I've had couples talk about, they do it together in the morning. I've had older couple. Seriously, it's been amazing. Like, people, it's a fun book. And that's what I wanted to create. As an IO psychologist, I want to create fun. I want IO psychology to be fun, and I want to introduce it to the world as, yes, it's a science, but it's fun, and there's ways to implement it in your life, right? So what does this book have to do with IO psychology? Well, plenty, right? This has to do with understanding who you are. Remember the classification, discover your dream. This book falls in that classification, which is the career exploration of you, understanding who you are, loving yourself. Right? Because when you discover and love and know who you are, your behavior, see where I'm going? Psychology, your behavior changes. When your behavior changes because you know who you are, then guess who benefits from that? People in the workplace.
And yourself.
Your family.
Yeah.
People at Walmart, people at Target, wherever. They benefit from that because you understand who you are.
I'm actually really excited about that book. I think I'm going to check it out because
Please do. Please. Yeah, it's on my website, if you go to my website, please, yes, you can go to Amazon and buy it. However, just letting you know, us authors on Amazon, us indie authors like me, we don't get a lot of money for those books. Okay. So if you, but if you do go to my website, www.truthspeakscoaching.com, truthspeakscoaching.com, and go to my website, I will send you a signed copy. I have plenty of them. I'll send you a signed copy myself, and that money comes straight to me.
Yeah, I teach youth group, like I said, and I teach the girls, and so I think that would be an amazing resource.
Oh my gosh, Amber, I have had teams managers buy books, bulk of the book for their teams, and youth groups. I actually taught a group, Girls Inc. I did the same thing. So people
awesome.
use this book all the time. Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely going to do that because we're actually doing a study right now. It's called Girls with Swords. And it's basically, it's basically just telling or realizing that you are created for a purpose, and that you are the hero of your own story. And God equips you. It's what you do with what He equips you with. And it doesn't matter where you've come from. You could come from the most crime-ridden family, down, dirty, just low down, dirty people. You could come from that and still decide on your own to be something different.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to impart with them. And so in conjunction with that and your questions, I think that would be a great resource.
Right. You're not your past. You're not your family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so many of us go through life
Mm-hmm.
thinking that we can't rise above our circumstances, that we
Right.
can't be better than where we came from or who we are today.
Yes.
And
you can, no one, let me tell you something, and just newsflash, nobody around here is perfect. Some people act like they are. Yes, I'm rolling my head. But no, they are.
Yeah.
No, nobody around here is perfect. And none of us have the right to judge.
Mm-hmm.
None of us do.
Yeah.
Who are you? You know what I'm saying? Who are you to judge me?
Yeah, I
Who
live.
You judge me. You have to wake up next to me with my problems. So why are you judging me? Right?
I have dealt with so many people on so many wide classes and spectrums, and just so many different people, and they're just so different from each other, and yet still the same. And
Yeah, because we all sit down and go to the bathroom. We're all the same.
Yes. Exactly. And I'm not the type of person to have an idol or a hero or anything like that, really, per se. That's just not my thinking. I want to be the hero.
Yeah.
I guess the closest thing I have is my husband, and it's just because he's, the smartest, the kindest, and just all around greatest person I've ever met. So
Right. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
yes, it is. And boy, I tell you what, I really never thought that I would ever be able to experience something like that growing up in the home that I grew up in, and to know that I have a really great marriage. I've been married for 25 years this month.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Heart. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So just, even that alone, is just mind boggling to me. So,
That's beautiful.
so yeah. So I just love the idea that we're asking ourselves questions and trying to understand who we are.
Right.
And
that's all I want. I just want people to know. I just want people to know their value, because a lot of times when, especially as us authors, we're writing a lot of times for ourselves. And we're all on a journey. Our lives are a book. Our lives are a journey, right? There is the only destination is death. So that's the destination, So enjoy the journey, right? Because none of us know when that journey is going to end. That chapter is going to end of that chapter is going to close, right? Or end of that book is going to close, and you have to. I just want people to understand their value. I've had to learn, though. Everyone is capable of that, but everyone won't. And it's not my job through therapy. Therapy is a beautiful thing, right? It's not my job to make them see it, right? I can't. I can put all the resources out there. I can do everything, right? I can do it. I can put everything out there, but you have to want to do it. You have to want to believe in yourself.
exactly.
And yeah, those who want to come along for the ride, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And those who don't, I can't. What do you want me to do? There's one thing about Marla's going to live her life. Like I said, I've been through so much, and I do want to share this because it is important. I know we only got like a few minutes here left.
Oh, we can go as long as you want.
Yeah. I got my son's best friend coming over. My grandson's
okay.
Parents coming over to we're moving some furniture and stuff here in a little bit, but but for me to say is, when we say the cliche term "life is short," it really is. You know, it really is. And I lost my son and daughter-in-law September, as I shared with you, September of 2024. September 25th, 2024 is a day that forever changed my life. It was murder suicide, and it's still surreal. 99% of me has accepted it. The 1% of me probably will never accept it. And that's okay. That's okay. But I say that to say is because, number one, suicide is so preventable. And we know that it's huge in the military community. I'm not going to sit here and say that I wasn't suicidal at one point. I'm not going to sit here and say I have never called the 988 number. Because I have more than once. And so, and not everybody knows that. So I guess they do now. But
Hey.
you know, so but I say that to say is, and so many people are like, Marla, you're doing so good. You're pushing along. Well, they left me at the time with a 9-month-old.
Yeah.
He's 15 months now. He's just the sweetest, cutest ball of joy, mannish little man.
Yeah.
He's just everything. He's everything. But it's going to take a village to raise him, and I am using that village to raise him. Because when my son passed, he knew his mama was a go-getter. His mama was not a person that keeps still. And I can't just change that overnight, right? Even though my life changed overnight, I can't change who I am overnight, right? And neither should I have to. So this is why treating people is so important, because you never know who you got to lean on, right? And so the people I have treated well in my life, it's all coming back to me because the amount of love and support that has been poured into me. Now, I have had some people that have left. Okay. You know, but for the 2, 3, 4 that have left, 40 more have come in, and that is not a fabricated number. You know, I have had strangers, people like, hey, Marla, I got your name from such and such. I want to invite you to this. Hey, Marla, I have this. I got your name from da da da. I want to do this. I just want to give you this. Seriously, I still have people reaching out to me as of this week. Still want to give to me. You know, not because they feel sorry or whatever, but because they knew somebody because I treated somebody well. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So I say all that to say is live your life, people. Get help. Nobody's perfect. My son and daughter-in-law had issues. No marriage is perfect. They had issues. They had things going on in the world. They were two beautiful people. And one day I got to explain that to their child, to my beautiful grandson. His name is Giovanni Deshawn Brown. And in honor of my son, I did, and if you also want to support this, I am helping to try to prevent suicide because it's so preventable. I do have a sock brand called TDB. You know what I'm saying. So that's a phrase that my son would always say. So it says TDB and has the initials, you know what I'm saying. So it has, you know what I'm saying, under the TDB. If you go to the website, the socks are 1 pair for $19.97, 2 pair for $29.97, or 3 pair for $39.97. All the proceeds are going to suicide prevention and my grandson's trust fund. I'm not making any money from that. I don't need to make money from that. Because again, it's preventable. And the amount of people, Amber, that have reached out to me, the amount of mothers that have reached out to me about their sons has been heartbreaking because of this. Every day I hurt is like no other pain that you don't, it's no other pain you can describe. You know, I'm just grateful, but I'm grateful that I did not find him, because some parents found their kids. I'd probably be in the mental institution right now if I did. So I am grateful for that. But there's always, I do believe that there is light to darkness. You can't have darkness without light.
That's true.
You can have light without darkness. So out of this darkness, so much has come. I'm closer to both of my ex-husbands because we have a pact. We're the village. They're part of the village. They have girlfriends. I'm close. I have relationships with them. I'm close to my son's friends. I'm close to, some of my daughter-in-law's family, some of them, not all of them, but some of them,
Mhm.
that I can talk to. It has definitely changed the dynamic of a lot of things because the ripple effect. The ripple
Yeah.
effect. I always said if I did write a story about my son, that's the title. It would be called the ripple effect because the ripple effect of this has been enormous.
Mhm.
Enormous. And so I
Yeah.
just say that to say to all those who are out there listening, I'm doing. I'm pushing forward. I have a 15-month-old to raise. I have to do. He's not going to
Mhm.
allow me to sit still. He is busy. He just started walking. He is a busy little thing.
I bet he is.
Just like daddy. Tariq couldn't stop eating. That's my son's name, Tariq.
Yeah.
My son's name was Tariq, and my daughter-in-law, but my daughter, her name was Rachel. And Tariq would eat all. He greedy, and so is Giovanni. We call him Gio, but Gio, he eat.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, boy, you just like your daddy. Seriously.
Eat you out of house and home.
I'm like, I'm like, I'm not used to this. So, because my son was 26,
Yeah.
and my daughter was 27 at the time.
Mhm.
So, both their birthdays have passed. So, Rachel would have been 28, November 30th, and Tariq would have been 27 on February 4th. And that's when I launched the sock brand on February 4th. And I will launch a different sock every year on his birthday. And this year I am going to launch something for, this is the first time I'm announcing this, but I am launching something for Rachel. I'm not going to say what it is. It's something that she helped me with that many
Oh,
people don't know about, but is something that she helped me with that I
that's
will
awesome.
launch for her. So I miss them dearly.
Mhm.
Not a day goes by. Not a day goes by, and some days
Mhm.
are better than others.
Mhm.
But it is if you ever lost a child or it is a physical pain. It's like a physical pain. The best way for me to describe it, Amber, is like I'm not an amputee, but the amputees can feel their missing limb. That's how
No, I understand. Mhm.
that's how it feels.
I
That's how
mean,
it
I
feels.
don't understand in the fact that I
No, no,
have
I
lost a
know what you
son,
mean.
but I've lost enough people to
Yeah.
know, that their absence is dearly felt and,
Mhm.
even sometimes physically,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, I'm sorry that we transitioned into this
No,
so
no, 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 that's okay.
suddenly.
I just wanted it to be out there because I'm not afraid to talk about it. I mean, when people were like, "Oh my gosh, you're so brave to talk about," I couldn't even talk about it. For me, it gives me peace to talk about it, and it helps me, therapeutically to talk
That's
about.
me too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it helps me because if me talking, if one person hears this and I save one person's life, then that's someone else's dreams that will come to fruition.
Yeah, yeah, my dad, like I shared with you a while
Mhm.
back, my dad passed away, and, my son found him, and, it's been traumatic at the very least, traumatic, and, so we've experienced a lot of really crazy things
Yeah,
and gone through the ups and downs and all that, but I feel when I share the story, I feel, less burdened,
yeah,
and I feel like I'm
exactly,
helping other people because I
exactly.
know I've helped other people because I've had people tell me, "I didn't know the impact on the people left behind."
Mm. Woo, the impact. That's the ripple effect I was talking about.
Yeah,
Girl, that ripple effect is real. I
it
mean, this thing
is.
has impacted.
It it is so scary.
Yeah.
The things that, people go through after something like that,
Mhm.
and, I mean, even into the paranormal, realm, and that's why I actually even
Mhm.
talk about paranormal stuff, and since we have a little bit of, time
Yeah.
left, have you had any paranormal, cryptid, or UFO experiences that you would
Yeah.
like to share, just in the pursuit of making it less taboo to talk about and, understanding?
Yeah. I won't reveal who, but
Yeah.
someone very close to me is clairvoyant. And I
Mhm,
asked them I said, if they come to you, my daughter and son, if they come to you, please let me know.
mhm.
And they told me, okay. And just recently, I said this when it happened, just recently they told me that that they had a vision of me at the funeral. And Tariq, um, I was asking Tariq why did he do this, and he said to tell her that I was in pain. It was just too much pain,
Oh.
and it was crazy because my therapist gave me exercise to do, and the exercise I did was where I had to just close my eyes and just kind of picture Tariq in a room, and I asked him the same question, and that was the answer. The answer was very similar.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
how I knew that was of the spirit realm.
Mm-hmm.
And also, too, my house makes noises. I have a townhome,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of ghosts or anything. Number one, I don't believe in ghosts. Start with that. but I do believe in spirits. We're all spiritual. We're energy. We're all
Yes.
energy. I do believe that. And I have a beautiful memorial set up for them downstairs. It's beautiful, and they were both cremated. And so the house makes noises. And one time the floor was making more noises than it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to Rachel, go back downstairs. The baby, he is sleeping. He's fine. And it stopped. The floor stopped crackling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then another time, I think we got a few minutes. One
Yeah.
time when my mother passed away, like maybe 2-3 days after we had the funeral, Tariq was, I don't know, she died in 2004. So Tariq was maybe 7. No, he couldn't have been 7. He was maybe like 6,
Mm-hmm.
something like 6. He was 6. It was because I got divorced the same year, so he was 5 going on 6,
Mm-hmm.
and so he was in his room sleep, knocked out. And so I decided to lay down and take a nap. So I said, I'm going to take a nap. And I woke up and I said, and Tariq was standing there in front of me. I said, Tariq, why are you standing there? Just go back to bed. And I pushed him. And I said, gosh, why are you so hard? You're so hard, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, just go away. You're okay. I said, I'm okay. Mama's okay. Go. Let's go back to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I jumped up. And I'm like, so I ran to his room. The boy slobbing out his mouth. So I knew it couldn't have been him.
Yeah.
That was my mom. I think my mom just let me know I'm here. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay,
I
well-
knew I touched something. I know I touched something. It was very hard. It was hard. I never forget that feeling. It was just hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like because when you touch a
Solid
body,
object.
it's solid.
Yes.
And I felt like I touched. It was so hard. But I saw them walking away in the distance, and that's I'm like. So I ran over to Tariq's room, slob everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have actually had things push me. So
Yeah.
I know that that can actually feel, I mean, you have the whole weight and everything. It's really crazy. So, well, thank you for
my
playing
kids are with
along.
me. Yeah, I believe my kids are with me. I believe they're
Yeah.
here with me. I actually have peace that I've set up. Once that person told me the clairvoyant, I actually felt a sense of peace. And then I went on the trip to Denver. I felt like my son was with me there, and I felt like he was just telling me, "Mom, just be,
Mhm.
And so I've had a few incidences where I've just uh, I've just had a sense of peace, just
Mhm.
peace, come over me.
Well, that's good. And yeah, I'm just in the pursuit of knowing more, and
Yeah,
I ask everybody just because I'm curious. It happened
hey,
to me,
it's
so
real. It's real. I mean,
yeah.
we're spiritual beings. We're spirit. You don't have to believe it. It's the truth. You don't have
Yes,
to believe it.
that's very true. Okay, Marla. So, can you just let everybody again know where they can find you and what
Yes.
you're doing next?
Yes, thank you so much. So right now I'm in the process of creating my next workbook, which is Dr. A's Glossary of Terms for Work.
Okay.
It's my IO psychology terms. It's over 100 plus terms to help those who are coming into the field understand these terms, understand why they're important to the workplace, and to help you. So I'm working on that. That should be out. I don't have a date for it yet. I'm also working on the project that I'm working with my daughter-in-law that she helped me with. That I'm bringing that out on her birthday, November 30th. And I also have another book that's in the horizon. It's another workbook about a mini-series for autonomy that will also have a class, because my dissertation was based off of autonomy
Okay.
and job crafting. So I have those few things working on. Obviously, I'm still with doing a lot of stuff with my nonprofit. Got a lot going on there. So if you want to find me, please, I'm on LinkedIn under Marla J. Albertie, spelled Albertie. I'm the only Marla J. Albertie out there. Please go to my website, www.truthspeakscoaching.com. And if you want to support me, go buy me a coffee. Subscribe to $1 a month. $1 a month, really.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably like, well, you're underselling yourself. Look, look. If I get 1 million people donating $1 a month, I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. I just want people to know I'm out there making moves, doing things, and that's going to lead to something else, right? That's going to move on. I have other aspirations and dreams and things I'm going to be doing.
You're still moving forward.
Moving forward. So yes, just go out there, go out to the website, buy me a coffee, find me on Buy Me a Coffee, buy me on LinkedIn, send me a message. I'm more than happy to talk to you. I'm here.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Marla. And I will definitely have you back on, because I actually want to, have a longer, more, nuanced conversation about all of this. But I'm excited about you just even being a part of MBR in some capacity.
Yes,
And
I'm excited. I'm very excited because I told you I have a few ideas.
yes.
I have a few ideas.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
We'll
And
be talking.
so,
We'll be talking.
yes,
You might hear from me again, people.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Marla. And I hope that you have a very blessed night, and and I'm just so thankful that you have a village and a community to help you. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Amber, for the opportunity. God bless, and everyone, go live your life.
Yes.
Seriously. Life is short.
Yes, it is.
Go live your life.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Marla. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. So that was Marla, and I'm really excited to get to know her more, and to have her on longer to really just, kind of pick her brain and just know, more about her. So, next week, I think that we will be doing an open panel, as long as we don't have a guest, to talk about the FOIAs. So, please join us. So everybody have a very blessed evening and a very blessed week, and do something to change the world and make it better. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.